magnetic time with her family, morning breakfast, in which she stated she was not feeling well, not doing well, but yet felt the need to act like she was cooking and helping her husband cook. And she questioned why she would do that or engage in that behavior when her family knew that she was struggling and having difficulty. So she used the word fake with regard to just how she was attempting to present to her family. So this was on reflection in talking to me about that behavior at that time.
And did she also tell you about an incident at Spalding Hospital when she was interacting with a friend of hers who was visiting there after she went to Spalding Hospital for rehabilitation?
Yes.
And what did she tell you about that?
She told me that this friend who visited was a longtime friend from when they were both really quite young.
Okay,
And
we are
when
back.
this friend visited, Miss Clancy
do you want me guys,
engaged in...
Do you guys want me to go back to where we fell off, or you want to just watch it through and then we'll go back?
Trying to remember how she characterized it. Gossip. Really talking about...
He didn't really say much. I've been listening.
And catching up, basically, on news that this friend, I believe her name was Amy.
Okay, we'll watch it through. Then we'll go back. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
They had similar or shared experiences. And so Ms. Clancy told me she was upset at Spalding Hospital because this superficial conversation that she had without discussion of the incident of 24 January 2023, that gave an impression, maybe a false impression of Ms. Clancy, and that it hurt the friendship as a result. And she felt that Spalding Hospital had they provided better psychiatric care, better mental health care, she would not have been so superficial in talking with her friend.
Did she also express anger to you that the staff at Spalding had prioritized her spinal cord injury needs over her mental health needs?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Did Ms. Clancy tell you or express anger to you that the staff at Spalding Hospital had prioritized her spinal cord injury needs over her mental health needs?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to put into evidence excerpts from the Spalding records showing the mental health consult and treatment of Ms. Clancy.
They may be admitted.
294. And so, Doctor, did you have an opportunity to review the Spalding records?
Yes.
And did you see in the Spalding records that not only a psychiatrist, but also a psychologist and a social worker met with Ms. Clancy while she was at Spalding multiple times?
Yes.
And is there anything about the inconsistency of Ms. Clancy telling you that she didn't receive that treatment or that focus at Spalding versus the record, what the records show that are significant in your evaluation of her?
Well, it's inconsistent and doesn't match up with that collateral information. So her depiction of the lack of mental health care at Spalding didn't match up with the evidence from Spalding in terms of the documents. Spalding is a rehab hospital, and that is really, they were really concentrated on the spinal injury, but also did have mental health services available.
And Doctor, moving along in your analysis, did you look into and evaluate
Wow.
the defendant's decision to send Patrick Clancy on errands on January 24th, 2023.
Yes.
And what stood out to you as significant in what you learned from the records and from Ms. Clancy herself in that area?
I asked Ms. Clancy to tell me about that that afternoon, and specifically that decision for takeout. And as I recall, she told me that she texted her husband Patrick basically to say, what would you think about having takeout? It's been a long day. And it's a fairly broad, open-ended request, and that he responded positively, and from then she made the arrangements to look up the distance between their home, and 3V restaurant in Plymouth, but also looking at basically making plans to have the food ordered. And she had texted her husband ultimately and asked him about, to tell her what order to make.
You got to get
And
his
so,
questions out.
in looking at the record, it was really reversed. Instead of starting with asking her husband, what would you think about takeout? How about getting takeout? The record shows that Ms. Clancy did a lot of searching prior to that in terms of 3V, the distance, and the like. So there were a number, getting information prior to requesting a text, sending a text to her husband.
She
And
planned
in the
it.
text,
She planned
rather than
it.
saying, what would you think about takeout, getting takeout, she said, how about getting takeout at 3V? I am, it's been a long day, etc. And so this reversal, in terms of what she told me, and what actually we see in the collateral, I thought was significant.
How so?
Well, she told me that the only restaurant that she could remember about getting takeout was 3B. And Patrick told me that they had never gotten takeout from 3B. He named West End Grill and Chestnut Grill as places that were in Duxbury and close by that they
This
liked
sealed the deal
and
for
that
me.
They often got
It was already
takeout
sealed,
from.
but this is really
They
it.
had been to 3V and they liked it. They had gone as a family, but they had never gotten takeout there, takeout from 3V. And so
She mapped it out before she even called
presenting
him. She planned it.
not
Wow.
just the idea of takeout, but how about 3V? And she had already done lots of checking about distance and the like. I thought was inconsistent. What I saw from the record was not what she told me in terms of the order in which she made those decisions, and so I saw that as being significant.
And was there a similar scenario with the the request of Patrick from the defendant to also go to CVS.
Yes.
We said it.
And so what was the difference
We said
between
it.
what she told you
Sociopath.
about the plan to go to CVS and, or what she told Patrick and what she had done in terms of research?
Well, the research for, I think it was Miralax, which was suggested for Cora's constipation. They had had an appointment that morning in pediatrics, and this was suggested that the Miralax and CVS was something that Ms. Clancy looked into sometime after 4 o'clock, but not long after 4 o'clock, and well before she contacted her husband, but that she did not communicate to her husband the importance of picking up Miralax at CVS, who she had called, until really right before he left. So he had planned on
She needed more time.
going to 3B, driving to 3B, almost 6 miles,
That was the pit
to
stop.
get the takeout. And then she also added on that other errand
Hit the thumbs up, guys, so people can know we're back.
right before he left.
And so was it significant to
We'll
you that
rewatch
she had
his
researched the Miralax and looked into CVS an hour before, but just added that, that part of the errand on right before her husband left?
Yes.
And why?
Well, it lengthened the trip. It added one extra obligation for Patrick, and that would make for a longer time that he was away.
And moving along in your analysis, you discuss Ms. Clancy's suicide attempt, and you say that it was serious, but required sequential decision-making. Is that correct?
Can you just repeat that? I'm sorry.
Sure. In your report, you describe Ms. Clancy's suicide attempt as serious, correct?
Correct.
And you also state that it required sequential decision-making.
Well, I think in looking over her records previous to that day, 24 January, she had contacted Aspire twice, a suicide hotline, and spoken to them. And really, as I recall, since early December had been speaking about suicidal ideation. So this was something that that was
Lindsay's going to
significant
jail.
for her.
Where she belongs.
There was, of course, an assessment that, in the emergency department on the 15th of December. So you look through the record and that you do see that she was concerned about self-harm and suicidal ideation. If we look at the actual day after the children were killed, or after the children were strangled, Callan was still living at the time that
He's trying to make sure Red don't have
EMS
nothing.
arrived. She told me that she got a knife from the butcher block
He got to get it out quicker.
in the kitchen, and then went upstairs and attempted to cut herself. That she also took pills or took an overdose. And I asked her about that, really trying to understand.
Objection as to what he was trying to understand.
No, over.
We're not frozen, Nina. That's just
Really
him.
to try and understand how she accomplished the overdose, because if you're swallowing lots and lots of pills, that can be difficult. And so how many handfuls of pills did you take, or whatever?
He's frozen in real time, but
And-
not the stream.
And then she told me that she had slashed the screen and dove out of the window.
Doctor, if I could ask you a question. In terms of taking the pills, what did Ms. Clancy tell you about how she took the pills?
I'm sorry.
What did Ms. Clancy tell you about how she took the pills?
Yeah, Sprague needs to ask direct questions. Don't let him go on and on. He can't get it out.
It wasn't really very clear. I was.
Objection. Requesting what she said is the question.
Do you recall what she said?
I'm sorry.
Do you recall what she said about taking the pills, whether she took handfuls or did something else?
He has to
She did
just
not
answer.
say that she took handfuls. She did not describe the overdose
He's smart, but he
in
can't
any specific
talk.
terms.
This is a
Did
problem.
she tell you anything about crushing up pills?
Objection. Leading question.
It's already been answered. Next question.
Did she give you any other information about taking the pills?
No.
Sprague, he needs direct questions. You can't let him
Now, if you could
think
tell
too
us
much.
that portion that I asked you about earlier, what is sequential decision making, and how did you see that in her behavior?
Well, as I mentioned, she, after strangling the 3 children with the exercise bands, she went up the steps,
You need a neuro nurse in
went
here.
to the
What's going
kitchen.
on?
She got a knife and then ascended yet another group of steps to her bedroom, to their bedroom.
It's painful.
And described the
Is this man having
for
a
cutting her
TIA?
wrists as well as her neck, and also described the overdose in barely. It was just hard for me to get a good idea about
They should have left him
how
off the list.
specifically the overdose occurred, what she did.
He can't talk.
But she omitted some things that I thought were significant.
And what things did she omit that you think were significant?
Well, she omitted the fact that she had actually crushed the pills. And I found that to be, quite significant.
And how
He has
did you
something
learn
going
that she
on
had crushed the
neurologically.
pills?
I learned after interviewing her husband, Patrick, and he went through that evening and talked about coming to the home and the like, and mentioned that on the bedside table there was a wine tumbler with powdered medication, crushed up medication, that there was still some in the wine tumbler. And I had not,
He can't
she had not told me that she had actually crushed the medication. And I know that in Dr. Resnick's report, and also in what Lindsay Clancy told me, that she had lemonade in that wine tumbler when she took the overdose.
Oh
Now, when
God,
I
this has started off
asked
good. It's going way
Patrick
left.
Clancy, he told me
can't
that they
get
did
it
not
out.
have, he didn't think they had any lemonade in the house, that was not typical at all.
And doctor, what is the significance?
Finish, please.
But
I'm sorry, were you
done
not
with that?
finished?
You done with it? Hold on. You
Yes.
done with that answer? All right. Next question.
And
Red
so,
wants him to
Doctor,
keep going
what is
to
the
get some rope.
significance to you, if anything, of this atypical use of lemonade and the crushed powder in the cup?
You say what is atypical?
Well, I think you just said that Patrick Clancy said it wasn't typical to have lemonade, correct?
Correct.
So is there any significance to you to the fact that there was lemonade in the cup and that there was powder residue in the cup? Or straight that, was there any significance to the fact that Lindsay Clancy told you that there was lemonade in the cup and that Patrick Clancy saw powdered residue in the cup?
Yes, it made sense that lemonade would be in the cup if you're trying to take an overdose of medication that you've crushed, just because of the bitterness that these pills have. So that made sense. I asked her more about the lemonade, and she told me that it had been in the wine tumbler from the night before.
Sprague, just land the plane.
In terms of the decision-making process, like what types of decisions is she making? Are you referring to, what to take and how to take it and when to take it and when to cut herself, those types of decisions?
I think we got enough because he can't answer a direct question, so this is a problem.
Crushing pills is really a challenge if you don't have the right equipment, if you don't have like a mortar and a pestle that they might have in a pharmacy. And so what I wondered about was that process of crushing the pills to the point that they were powder in order then to put them in lemonade and then drink them. And so that is, to crush pills, significant number of pills into fine powder is not an easy thing to do, particularly if you don't have the right equipment.
He just said that.
It's just kind of a laborious process.
This is getting worse and worse by the second.
And she also did not, it was Patrick Clancy who told me about the door being locked. And she told me she did not recall locking the door.
And in terms of Ms. Clancy's ability to execute the strangulation of her children, is there anything about how she did it, what she did, that stood out to you in your evaluation?
Spit it out, please.
Yes.
And what is that?
Ms. Clancy told me that she, after the phone call with her husband, she returned the call, that was when she took Dawson down the steps into her husband's office to strangle him. And I asked Ms. Clancy about what she remembered about what she said to Dawson to get him to go down the steps and leave, his sister and brother upstairs. And was there resistance, verbalization, et cetera, crying? And she said she could not recall that. She could only recall bringing him down the steps and then strangling him. And then she repeated that. The next child was Cora, that she went back upstairs and did not recall how she got Cora down the steps, how Cora came down the steps, but then brought her into a different area, kind of a living room area in the basement, and strangled Cora. And then lastly, that she went up to get Callan. And I asked her, I said, where was Callan? Upstairs. And she said, well, maybe in a playpen, often, she said she couldn't really remember, but then bringing Callan down and he was the last child to be strangled, all during this time where this voice is over and over again saying, this is your last chance. You have to kill the children before you kill yourself.
Doctor, is there any significance to the fact that this voice is telling her to kill the children, but not telling her how to kill the children?
Yes.
And what is that?
Just like adults, children have a will to survive, strong will to survive. I think it's just part of being human. And so I know that Dr. Resnick described Ms. Clancy as acting as if she were a puppet. But the children are not puppets. And just in looking at the Cape Codder video where Ms. Clancy is holding Callan and Dawson and Cora are there, I mean, they both are active. They can walk, they can run. And so to make the determination about
I'm going to object to this.
All right, can I see counsel at sidebar?
I think he had a medical event sometime like recently. He knows what he wants to say, but he cannot get the words out. He can't get the words out. I don't think it's a stutter. He's having a problem with his speech. And I think he takes a deep breath because he wants to get through this testimony because he's the one that did the evaluation. But I think this man might have had some type of stroke or a little mini TIA. There's something going on here. He has so much information to give. I think he's on, and I think they wanted to push over the edge with it. But Attorney Reddington, you need to have some patience. Well, I mean, we sat through your bullshit for 2 hours, 2.5, 4 for Dr. Mack, with you asking dumb questions about the DSM. So I'm very, very, very concerned about this, but it is like they're in a trial. We're trying to wrap this up. If it took this long with the prosecution, it will take Attorney Reddington 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe the whole day to talk to this guy. They're probably going to I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. And I don't know if the judge and Reddington are working together with this. It's almost break time because he objects right here at 3:51. And remember, right when it was time to break, he was like, let's take a break. Yeah, let's go for it, Judge. I gotta look at my notes. I think he knows that the judge don't play about his breaks, and he not trying to go over that either. And you got to think, he wants this over because he wants time to go, do his research. If, I don't know, if he could find out from somebody, if they drop a tip that this doctor has had some type of significant medical event, I don't, like, Reddington's a sleazeball. He'd use it against him. He would use it against him. Because I was saying this from the very beginning. I'm like, wait a minute. This is not just normal, taking the time like Dr. Zeisel. This is something is, medically wrong here. He can't get his words out. It's like he knows what he want to say, but he can't say. And that's dangerous because you're testifying in a trial. It needs to be coming out clearly. And then he goes off. He can't remember what he was trying to say, but he has amazing information. Like, he got this chick hook, line, and sinker. I think the prosecution, I know you guys already wrote out what you were going to ask him. I know, because you could tell she's reading off it and she's checking down a box about what she was going to say. But you got to know how to pivot. You could clearly see he's struggling. He's your last witness. You got this sociopath in the bag. She's guilty. We've seen enough. We've heard enough. Just ask him the direct question and get it over with,
All right, Doc, you may step down if you like. You may step down this time.
Step
I
down.
told you. I told you. They was going to end it.
All right, well, members of the jury, we're going to break for today, all right?
Told you.
And in talking to counsel over here, it is anticipated that the evidence will close tomorrow, all right? So I just kind of wanted to give you a little bit of a heads up in regards to that. Now, the way it works in a case like this is it requires, after the evidence closes, I have to meet with the attorneys and go over some of the instructions. So it's probably, and you've all seen how good I am in my predictions about the schedule, but it's probable that we will be doing closing arguments not tomorrow but the day after. All right. So the anticipation is the evidence will wrap up, finish tomorrow, and then we'll start arguments and charge the next day with deliberations that day. All right. So I just kind of wanted to give you as much heads up as I can. This is one, well.
Hey, Nurse Gang, we're going to be here a couple more days. We thought this was our last day, but I don't know.
I just wanted to give you some idea of where we are in regards to this. So I'm going to excuse you till tomorrow morning. You've heard a lot of evidence, but you haven't
heard all the evidence.
Right, and like I've said before, you haven't heard the closing arguments of the attorneys. You haven't heard the law that you're going to have to apply to this. So you still have to keep an open mind. You still have to follow those instructions. Don't read anything about this. Don't listen to anything about this. Don't watch
take any
anything
road
about
trips.
this. And don't talk about it with anyone. You've been so good at following those instructions for all these weeks. I'm just going to ask you to kind of hang with those instructions a little bit longer. And so with that, I'm going to excuse you till tomorrow morning. We will continue with the witness who's on the stand. And like I said, I anticipate that we will, the close of evidence will be tomorrow. Okay? So with all my thanks, I've done it all the time. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Okay?
Cora, all right.
Oh, so
Yes, please. Yes, please.
that we had a Nurse Gang, we didn't have a crash landing because we didn't even land yet, but we didn't even land yet. So we're going to be back. We thought we were going to be done tomorrow, but it looks like, oh my God, my housekeepers are back there. She's in the background. Okay. All right. Hold on. I have one more poll. Here in the chat before we go. So we ended early. We had some technical difficulties there. I don't know what was going on, but this witness is having an issue. This witness is having an issue speaking. He's having an issue speaking. And I noticed it from the beginning that there was something wrong, that there was something going on. He's having an issue speaking. I feel like, at first I was like, oh, this guy's just trying to take his time. And we were like kind of chuckling about it. But as it went on and I realized that, he's having some aphasia here, I'm like, okay, this isn't a joke. Like, he's struggling to speak. He cannot express himself. So that's a problem. Reddington being very impatient with him, though, it doesn't matter how long it takes somebody to answer. They're testifying in a murder trial. We listen to your nonsense for hours. So tomorrow we're gonna be back here. We thought we were gonna be done, but it looks like tomorrow we're gonna have a long day. He's gonna give maybe the instructions, or maybe just finish up with this witness and then back Thursday for closing arguments and instructions and deliberations. I thought we would be in deliberations by Wednesday, but it looks like that's not going to happen. We understand, right? We're healthcare professionals here. We're nurses. We understand. Attorney Sprague or Reddington, they just don't get it. Like, Attorney Sprague, you see that he's struggling. You've already got this chick in the bag. Why are you still asking him a million questions and not leading him or directing him right to what you want? You can't give him an open end because you see he clearly can't do it. You got to be able to pivot. She needs to just flat out ask him, did she know what she was doing when she do this? Like, bam, that's it. And then let Reddington go and then come back on redirect if she needs to, right? And then hit the points. But she's still trying to pull a lot. You got her with Mac, and then you really got her with Halburn. She's done. She did it. I think Halburn was enough. She didn't even need this witness here. But I think he's going to speak to more of how she did the killings versus Halburn and Dr. Mac. So the experts for the prosecution are way better. Like, the experts for the prosecution are like on it. But whew, it was looking real, like we were rocky. It was like, I'm like, Attorney Sprague, why are you asking this man about the pills and letting him go on and on? Like, you're not getting that out of him. Clearly he has something going on here, and I highly doubt that this is not new, because he would not be being retained and be, testifying all over the country and working for the BAU if this is how he always was. I definitely feel like he had a medical event or something happen. So we will be back tomorrow. Yeah, he definitely he was struggling there though. And so much, but Attorney Reddington is just ridiculous. There's a video of him circulating now, coming in the court today. I saw it on the news, and he's turning into like Donald Trump. He was talking trash to the reporters, talking like, yeah, I don't want to talk to you because you're a biased little weasel. And he's just really feeling himself. And it's like, it's time to get off this ride. It's time to reel this circus in, put this chick away for life, and call it a day. We will be back tomorrow. I cannot believe it interrupted our stream. We didn't miss much of him because he couldn't really get it out. And I was listening the whole time while I thought you guys were on, but that wasn't the case. But yeah, we will start tomorrow. And I'm thinking maybe we start a little bit earlier tomorrow, just a little bit earlier if you guys want to come on, and we'll play that last little 30 minutes of his testimony that we did miss, so we're all caught up for tomorrow. But we've had a long day. We have been through a lot today. It got real dark here at the end because we haven't really had to listen to like how she did exactly what was going on. So that's rough. That's a lot for us to process. So we've had a long day here on Nurses in the News, and this is going to be our last couple of days of the trial, but I will still be here Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. for 1 hour every day with your Nurses in the News, even after Lindsay Clancy is sent to prison. So we're hoping for that guilty verdict. We are hoping for that guilty verdict. And I will see you guys tomorrow.